Hey, what's going on, family? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show. We are the show where we discuss trending news, thought-provoking topics from the fields of politics, sports, pop culture, and all the above. I am your host, Arrington Gavin, coming to you on this awesome day. I hope you all are having a wonderful day as well. Thank you for those who are tuning in to the program. If you're listening via WDJY 99.1 FM straight talk out the Metro Atlanta area, you can also listen in on this program wdjyfm.com, as well as on all digital and streaming platforms. I truly appreciate the support, man. Look, on today's show, I'm so excited because I have not one but two amazing guests that I'm excited to have. I have my good friend Miss Janine Lewis, conservative commentator, just all around, very a smart individual when it comes to politics, especially on the conservative side. And I also have my good friend Miss Melissa Lukeson. She is a community activist. I call her a firecracker. She's no stranger to the program. I've had her on plenty of times speaking all things politics, and I'm excited to have these two great individuals on because look, it's still election season. It's so much stuff happening, and you're probably like, politics again, Arrington? Yes, politics again, because it's been one of the most interesting political seasons, at least for my lifetime. I mean, we got two old guys that are, battling out who has the better golf game. I think it's pretty priceless. You have one gentleman who is fighting if he has the right cognitive ability, yet he pauses for 30 seconds going on. And then again, you have another guy that's, showing off his dance moves. Every time you see, that's what's helping Trump in the race. I'm gonna tell you that right now, because Trump be doing this dance all the time. And I'm like, okay, Trump got a little, got a little rhythm. I see, he's trying to get them black votes. Remember that? No, I'm joking. But anyways, y'all, it's gonna be a great conversation. I'm gonna get the perspective from people on all sides, because that's what we do here on this program. We're a very unbiased and independent program. Like I said, everybody and anybody is welcome, and I'm so excited that I do have the privilege to have friends from all different sides of the aisles, right? You don't see that in mainstream media. You have a lot of medias that have certain agendas, right? They want to spew all their stuff that they want you to tune into without actually giving you the truth. And I'm just giving you, straight conversation with people from different perspectives, so that you can, get it from, multiple sides, because there's a lot of undecided voters for this election. You have RFK as the third party candidate, but again, if he doesn't really have ballot access, I don't think there's any hope for him personally. You have Joe Biden on one side, where a good portion of people within his own party is saying, you know what, Joe, maybe you might need to just drop out. Now it's what we're looking at, like 4 months until the actual election day, which will be a little iffy for them. But at the end of the day, I look at it like this. Y'all had the opportunity to do a primary, and you chose not to. Now, look, you're stuck. I mean, seriously, you're stuck. Now, apparently around on the same day before this episode is being pre-recorded, but today they're supposed to be having like a press conference. Joe Biden's supposed to be having a press conference talking more about, if he's going. I personally don't think he's going to be leaving. But again, it's not as far as insulting him as a person. It's like, okay, look, dude, just put someone next in command, make it more of a fair. It just looks like it's going to be an easy win for Trump, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of both of them. I've not, said who I'm going to be supporting, but I do share my opinions on each candidate, as well as RFK, man. I'll share my opinion on him as well. So just excited again. We're going to have a great show, impact everything politics. So not really anything structured, anything any notes that I have going on, but just a great conversation with two of my good friends. So I'm excited to have that. Also, those who tune into the program, be sure to follow our Instagram page at the Arrington Gavin Show on IG. I truly appreciate that. Also follow our YouTube channel, R Smooth Club Media. That's the letter R and then Smooth Club Media. You can check out a lot of video versions of this program on demand on our YouTube channel, as well as on Rumble at the Arrington Gavin Show. So I truly appreciate that. And also, before I get going, I got to acknowledge some proud supporters of the Arrington Gavin Show, like Bernardo's Menswear. That's right. Bernardo's Menswear is an amazing line that keeps you looking swagged from head to toe, business casual, formal, you name it. He keeps you looking just, so fresh. He really does. My man, Mr. Bernardo Johnson. If you happen to be in the Hampton Roads area, be sure to check his store located in downtown Norfolk, the heart of downtown Norfolk, Gotham Mall on the first floor. Or if you're not in the Hampton Roads area, no worries. You can shop online to his website, www.bernardosmenswear.com. Again, that's www.bernardosmenswear.com. Also, Ingenious Gin is a veteran-owned, black-owned gin. My good friends Reggie and Lawrence served our country, and now they're serving us with an amazing spirit called Ingenious Gin. Again, a rose gold. So for those who are always familiar with the gin being clear, no, this is a rose gold. It has a little more distinction to it. You know what I mean? And I'm more of a bourbon whiskey guy, but after having Ingenious Gin, I'm like, oh, you kind of, you turn me into a new man with this gin. It's smooth. You can drink it neat on ice. In a cocktail. I'm telling you, it is so good. So be sure to go to some of your local spirit stores or ABC stores, or you can also shop online to their website, www.ingeniousgin.com. www.ingeniousgin.com. Be sure to drink responsibly, my friends. So look, before we bring on our first guest, we're going to do a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll have more here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Please do not change that dial. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
What is going on, fam? Welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. All right. As I mentioned before, I have two amazing guests that I will be speaking with here on the program. My first guest, my good friend, conservative commentator, Miss Janine Lewis. So look here, we're going to be talking about all things election. Let me bring on Janine real quick. Here we go. How you doing, friend?
Hello.
Wow, that was not a lot. That wasn't like hello. That wasn't.
Woohoo.
Okay. All righty, Janine. Let's get it going.
I'm conservative, remember?
Is that how they're all gonna say? I got you. Well, we got to help. Is that look? That's why I said I went with that dance. Trump trying to uplift. Okay. You love that Trump. He's trying to uplift y'all. But look, thank you so much for taking the time out your schedule, coming here on the program. Want to just again kick back and talk about these election cycles, this election season, not the cycle, but the election season happening right now. So first, I would like to start off with your grade, your score on the first presidential debate. What was your thought process going throughout that whole debate? How would you grade each candidate, individually? Just give me your feedback on that.
I mean, Trump is a fantastic debater. There was never any question that he wasn't going to do a good job. I guess what he did a good job of was, I don't know. The entire thing was rigged. They cut mics and he wasn't nasty. I think one time he said, I don't think he understands what he said. And that was probably true. But regarding Biden, my problem with this is I hear you saying you're independent. Mm-hmm. Well, the people who are left leaning, is the media complicit in making them think that he was capable? Because we've been seeing this. It's been going on 3 years. He's been falling downstairs and he's not been coherent. And foreign news has been making fun of him. And it's been very clear that he's not well. So actually, during the debate, I thought he did fantastic. He didn't pass out. He didn't die. Gavin Newsom was backstage. I thought it was going to be this kind of thing where they faked a medical issue. And then, now Gavin, this is how you guys run Gavin or something. So I thought he did great. I thought he did so much better than I thought he was going to do. So
Did
I'm
did you are you saying you thought they were gonna do like an Apollo Creed scene in Rocky when it's like
because
throw the towel, throw it, and then
because that's what clearly what they want him to, that's what his party wants him to do. It's very clear that's what they want. So I thought they would stage it because at some point you got to get him out. But I see now that either he doesn't want to be out or Jill doesn't want him to be out. Whatever's going on, he intends to stay in. But regarding his debate performance, he has had majorly worse performances going back.
Mm,
So they, they jacked him up real good. After that second commercial break, he was smiling like the Joker. Like they really jacked him up on something. He wasn't, I don't believe he was falling asleep during the debate. He was writing notes.
mm,
So I think he was coherent the entire time. I don't know what they were looking for because he was never, this guy is not a wit. He's
mm,
not ever been one. He's been a liar and a crazy for a long time. He had to drop out of the presidential race in 87 for lying and making things up. So nothing has changed. He's obviously old and getting older. And then some people are different. Like you said, Trump dances. My foster mother is 83. She works full time, drives, lives in the Bronx by herself. So everyone's in a different spot. Some people start declining at 60, 70. We hope we don't get to a point where we start declining and we don't have our faculties about us.
mm,
But it's clear that he hasn't had his faculties about him for a long time. And they needed somebody who could win so they could hold on to power. They put Kamala in there to use her. She
mm,
is neither black nor anyone's hip hop auntie, but that's how they sold her. And they did sell her, like this to a demographic of people who are now angry that they're looking to skip. Oh, I don't even know what they mean by skip over. She is the vice president. If he dies right now, she gets the nuclear code. To me, even though I'm not a fan, she's clearly a cackling idiot, but I didn't put her in there. Now that you put her in there, how disrespectful is it for these people to want to skip over her? They're floating Tulsi Gabbard and Michelle Obama. They're floating anyone except her when she is the vice president. If she wasn't qualified, if he wasn't qualified, then why did you do this? It was a very short sighted plan when they
mm.
refused to have a primary, cut out their own voters, and didn't give them any choices. You shoved it down their throats, and now you're going, well, this is a terrible idea. So I don't know if the media is complicit or who is, but he's been
Mm.
in bad shape for a long time. So no, I don't think he did that bad of a job, not comparatively. No.
Well, look, that was a lot said right there. So first thing I will, will agree with you as far as the not having a primary. I thought that was unfair for the voters because to my knowledge, when Biden was first entered into the race, so his first thing, I feel like he was. I say this a lot on the program. He was the almighty replacement. Everybody, the main thing was okay. You want Trump out, so boom, you got Biden, and he's in. Biden, to my knowledge, it's been a while since he during that campaign race that he was doing, but he was only going to be in for one term. He wasn't going to try to run again, to my knowledge. So now that he is, people are like, wait, whoa, hold up, Joe, hold up. We didn't talk about that. So to me, it was unfair not to have a primary because you did have candidates that wanted to run. You had a Congressman Dean Phillips, I think, out of Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, who wanted to run. You had Marianne Williamson, who's been a repeat candidate that wanted to run for office. Obviously, you have your independent party candidates. You have Cornel West now. You have RFK was the first, really. He was the first Democrat that wanted to run for office. It's interesting because the first candidates on both sides, really, you had Nikki Haley, who put her first bid in. I think she was the first candidate to want to run for office. And then you had RFK on the left as a Democrat at the time. But you had multiple options, multiple times to do a primary. So I've said it countless of times. I even said it to my Democratic friends, like, the Democrats shot themselves in the foot by not having a proper primary, because you need to give people that option just to say,
Yeah.
okay,
They don't have to give people anything. Why isn't Bernie Sanders ever getting any consideration? They don't have to give you
mm,
anything. They do what they want to do, and they treat their voters like it very publicly, and no one says anything. They
mm,
should have rioted. Just like they rioted for everything else. Rioted when they didn't give you a primary. When Cornel West is not being considered among people who say that they value diversity and all of these things. So it's very public how they did it. And
mm.
the Republicans continued to have debates, many choices. They were terrible choices, let me tell you. Some of the worst choices I've ever seen. But we had some, and
You,
that's the
you didn't
point.
care for any of the choices? Okay, wait,
Yeah,
we got.
I wanted to care for Nikki Haley, but she just kept making it worse and worse. She actually went to Mar-a-Lago before she even ever went on stage to try to, like, I don't like people who are snakes in the grass. And there was a lot of are you or are you not going to be pro-Trump? Because we need to know that
Hmm.
after the fiasco with Mike Pence.
Hmm.
And, she's just not, a lot of those people, a lot of politicians on any side of the aisle, anywhere at all, they like to see where the win lies,
Hmm.
where's the grass growing, and they, need to wait to align themselves where they can best get in. Kamala Harris did that. She was polling at 2%, said she was a top tier candidate, called Joe Biden every racist, misogynist, Me Too movement, crazo, and all of these things. And then as soon as it was time and he needed a vice president, she moseyed on in there. Okay, hold on, massa. And now so you're serving next to someone who you say, by your own admission, is a sex fiend and a racist.
Now
But you're his vice president,
you
so
mentioned you don't like people that are like say snakes in the grass. Now there has been many people that what would you say to people that will say, okay, Trump's a snake in the grass because
why?
he's never loyal to his to people around him. So what would you say to those folks?
I don't know what that means. He's never loyal to people around him. Give me an
Well,
example of that.
like loyal to his friends. I'm just saying, like, there's people that always say Trump is pretty much
That's
a snake.
that is a statement that has no backing. Whom has he been disloyal to that you can name?
I mean, well, Mike Pence, for example. I mean, was he ever? I mean, that's kind of like a public thing, right?
So I view that the other way. Mike Pence had
Okay.
a job responsibility, and what Mike Pence chose to do was keep his place in the party. And that's
Hmm.
the kind of behavior I'm talking about. You look around and say, what should I do? Should I do something that I can do, or should I do the thing that I think the people who are going to be in power want me to do? So that's what Mike Pence did. Now, again, as a politician, I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's a good Christian. I think he's one of the men who you will find that has very little scandal. I think that what happened with Mike Pence was he thought it was going to be his turn to be the nominee at some point, and he needed to
Hmm.
stay in a very, great position. But when you say like Trump's been disloyal to him, I don't think you have any action behind that. I mean, Trump, people say a lot of things. Oh, Trump's a racist. Well, give me an example. And there's never any, well, he says stuff and then there's never any example. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
think
Okay.
that that's
Well,
probably disingenuous. I don't see that. Now, does he fire people? He's famous for that, right? He fires people who are not doing a good job and who seem to be incompetent, those who cannot help.
mhm. Okay. 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 Well, look, moving on to, I want to speak on, for one, the attraction of Trump, because he has, in my mind, has revamped politics. He has changed the spectrum of upcoming politicians. He's changed the Republican Party. Like, what do you think is like the attraction to why people really are just like glued to Trump? Well, I won't say glued, but just glued to support him.
Well, what about the rappers who rapped about him before he was president? What was the attraction then?
Rappers, as far as what rapping, like, explain.
Oh, I think there are plenty of people who made mention Trump in rap songs. He was very popular in the 90s. He's absolutely been an icon.
Okay, so you mean
Uh,
as the person, as the personality, so as
well,
the
when you
public
like you say,
figure
what's
before.
the attraction? So I think that the attraction there is going to be the same. He's a very successful businessman. Generally speaks exactly what's on his mind. So they say like a sensational because I mean, he's from New York.
So the
I say a lot of things that are on my
the
mean.
unfilteredness really attracts the voters, because he's
I
not the quote
People
unquote like.
either like me or they do not like me, especially here in Virginia. And I realized that when I moved here 20 years ago, because in the South, they say, bless your heart. And I could
Mhm.
tell you what they say in New York, but we're on the radio, so it doesn't make sense, right? It's be without thinking, you say what is on your mind. Maybe it doesn't come out. Maybe people don't like the delivery, right?
Mhm.
Who's that other guy? My boyfriend's always talking about him. They don't like the delivery. Charleston White, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you don't like the delivery, but some of it's truth. Right. So you don't always have to like someone's delivery. And what Trump is working on, I guess this time is the delivery. That's too bad. I like the name calling and the jabs and the mean tweets. I was here for that. But I guess everyone wasn't, and he has to be everyone's president. So he's working on that this time around. I guess, like you said, that's what he did well at the debate this time, was be a little more reserved.
Mhm.
Because some of it is childish and it's not necessary. Doesn't mean it's not fun, but I can see where some of it is unnecessary.
Got you. I wanted to speak on a little more of because you mentioned you didn't care for the previous candidates that were running at least on the Republican ticket. So you had the governor out of Florida,
Ron
DeSantis.
DeSantis. Well, come on, Ron. First of all, he's a good governor. Second of all, don't wear high heels. Don't be someone you're not. Right? He was out there getting his makeup done. It's too much. He was
Just
running.
just a little touch up though. Just a little camera
Did
ready.
you see the video of his wife pushing the kids on the swings? It was as bad as Chuck Schumer's fake Father's Day where he was grilling the raw burger. She was swinging this from side to side like the kids were jerking up. It's clear to me that you've never pushed your children on the swing. Do you know what? If you've got a nanny,
You
more
said he
power
had
to
an
you.
instructor behind the scenes that said, "Okay, sir, this is how we're gonna." No, I'm joking.
And they should have. If you're going to make these fake scenes, I don't like the fakeness. It just was just stop.
Oh yeah, well,
Just
I've been
nobody
very
needs
I've been very vocal about uh uh South Carolina Senator Tim Scott and Mike Pence. They to me remind me of a Hallmark
it.
movie, like
Tim
the
Tim
speeches
Scott.
and
He said,
everything. It was
"I'm
too much. Get out
tired."
of
I
here.
said, "Oh, is Tim Scott a black preacher now?" It's not you. Just don't do it. Right? It's not you. Oh, even better than Tim Scott's black preacher.
Mhm.
Kamala Harris. I don't watch the BET Awards, but I watched a million clips where she said she was in the streets. She's the vice president of the goddamn unit. She's the vice president of the free world, right? She drives in an armored car like the Pope. She doesn't open her own door handles, and somebody probably tastes her food before she gets to eat it. She said she was out in these streets. These people are disgusting.
Well, I think that's one thing well, not one thing, but it's something I do agree with you on that one, Janine. I mean, on both sides, I don't like the heavy commercialized politicians because it's not authentic. You have to
Don't
be
pander
authentic.
to me.
You have to be authentic to residents, to voters. For one, that's why when you see about or when you read about low voting turnout, right? The whole reason why people don't even choose because they're like, all right, what I feel like I'm just that this is not real. This is not a real individual. You haven't
Nope.
came to my neighborhood. You haven't. So a lot of people are very, very impatient. And I think that's why with the first debate, it really messed up a lot of people because and again, the Biden administration, I mean Biden, they wanted the debate, right? It didn't look up. They wanted well not they, but CNN did the whole rules and really it lucked up really in Trump's favor because I mean he didn't try to, even when the mute mic'd, he didn't try to go over and still talk over. Like I think he learned his lesson after that first because that first one was it was horrible. The very first one that they had was the worst because it was old man yelling back and forth. And to me, that's what I can't stand when it comes to politics because like have a conversation, let everybody get their point across, and then okay, move on, have your counter argument, whatever. But the whole I'm not catching it. I'm not understanding how do we even get to this level. So it gets old to a position like that. But I wanted to move on to what the not really the attraction, but why is because you being a black female and a conservative, why is black conservatives like foreign right now in a sense? Because I feel like it's a foreign thing to society.
Well, that's another thing. I think the media is complicit. I don't think that. I think all black and brown people are naturally conservative. I don't. You look around and you talk to people and you go ask. I mean, you don't see a lot of Asian transvestites. Where are they? They don't seem to engage in certain behaviors. When you get down to Hispanics, maybe Mexican culture, Dominican culture, you don't see a lot of people saying, "Oh, I got a trans kid. How come we don't have trans kids deep in the hood?" Now, you had some gay friends, but that's not what I'm talking about, right? Some of these things that these people are making up are an invention of the white liberal, and a lot of different agendas are being pushed on people that the media is complicit in pushing publicly that don't translate to how regular Americans are living. And then when you say, what is the attraction of Trump? The truth of the matter is that he says things that are on people's minds. And maybe he does things that maybe you think are unbecoming, but other people do.
Mm-hmm.
Other people they do. And the people just don't like they can't handle the truth. You would rather someone lie to you and tell you they're going to give you reparations. Kamala Harris is black. Black people are in chains. The reason you can't do well in this country is the color of your skin. All of these things, it sounds good because that's the easy way out. Nobody wants people to tell you need an opportunity zone. People need to get a job. Criminals need to stay in jail, clean up,
Mm-hmm.
have nuclear families, try not to have, wedlock. Who is pushing all of these abortions on the black community? It's the same thing. It's clearly an agenda is being pushed, and I don't think that that's how black people live. I don't think that if you go and ask a bunch of black people their feelings, especially uneducated. Let's talk about black people who don't have a college education. Just go into the city and talk to a group of them and ask them their thoughts, maybe on homosexuality or whether or not trans women are women. And I don't think that you're going to like the comments that you get. I think they're going to be the same kind of comments that Trump would make off the cuff.
Okay. I want to talk about, to try and get a little more in the meat and potatoes. This episode this is kind of being pre-recorded, so by then I'm assuming Trump will probably have his VP pick by now. Do you happen to have, like, who do you think he would choose? Because in all honesty, I think there's going to be a pattern of, I mean, obviously people that are not going to overstep his shine, somebody he can kind of talk to.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll tell you a secret.
Okay.
If you look up right now, TrumpBurgum.com is an active website that you can go to, donate to, see, and look at. There is no Trump Ramaswamy. There is no Trump Haley. There's no Trump anything else. There's no TrumpScott.com. But TrumpBurgum.com is a live website. So Doug Burgum is the vice president, because Doug Burgum is a quiet man who he can overshadow. And whatever you're about to say, Doug Burgum, nobody knows who the governor
He was one of the
Dakota
least
is.
people, the least faces you even known that was on the debate stage, for one, because
And people who are a little quieter, what if you've never noticed? I've noticed this in my adult life. Nobody picks their vice president. You believe that Obama picked Joe Biden? No. The deep state picks your vice president, right? Because they may get you, but then they need somebody that is a little malleable, or somebody who owes them a favor, right? So Joe Biden is in there. Now, she's called him names and all of these things, but now Kamala Harris is his vice president. Who picks someone who's called me a racist and a misogynist? And you don't pick that person who said nasty public things about you.
But isn't that almost like politics, though, Janine? Because I remember back when Trump was first running for office, and you had like Ted Cruz and him was going neck and neck, and then Trump did say some unkind words about his wife. He said he took some shots at if I'm not mistaken, Marco Rubio at the time, and now they're team Trump all the way. So it's kind of politics.
They need a job, and he was saying that the whole time when he wasn't. Somebody asked him why he wasn't at the debates. He said those people are job candidates. They're candidates. That's what they are. They're candidates for the job. They know that they are
for to be on a
for
cabinet.
the vice president. They understand that. So I don't believe that all the time it's organic who your vice president is. Vivek Ramaswamy would have been the best pick, but let me be clear to you. Republicans are not as racist as Democrats, and 60% of the country, whether they're Republican or Democrat, would not have voted. Again, we can do white people and black people. Americans are comfortable with that at heart. They're not going to put somebody with the last name Ramaswamy in office. And that's unfortunate, because he's the same kind of Indian that Kamala Harris is, but he looks different. So they passed her off as a black, and it worked. He cannot be passed off anything other than what he looks like, which is, I guess people would say, like a 7-Eleven Indian. That's what Joe Biden would say. He said that before. So, and that's true. That Joe Biden has said that. He said you couldn't get a job at a 7-Eleven unless you had an Indian accent. That's what he meant. So Vivek might have the best policy. He might be young. He might be fresh, fit, intelligent, and all of these things. But the fact is, nobody is going to vote for a name that they cannot read in this country. America is not as advanced as they would like to believe that they are. And that's not going to happen. So I know that was never going to happen. They were able to pass Kamala Harris off as something other than she was. And if you look carefully, she got sworn in as senator as the first Indian American senator. And her mom was there, and she had the thing on, and the dot on her head. When she was sworn in as vice president, they were careful not to do that. Right. And then they started having hip hop parties at the White House and pretending she was African American, and people bought it because she looks a certain way. And so that's okay. They use the people that they need to use, but Vivek cannot be used in that way. He looks really Indian, and it's just not going to happen. So he'll get another job in the cabinet. He would have been the pick. And TrumpBurgum.com is up. So we know that it's going to be Doug Burgum. And it's for the reasons you said. He's just very. He doesn't have any story. You can't say anything about him. There's nothing to say. So just like
true.
Mike Pence,
is he out of North Dakota?
Slate. North Dakota. He's a blank slate. There's no scandal. There's no issues. He's, supposedly a good Christian with his wife, has no issues, hasn't had any problems. And so that's why Doug Burgum is going to be vice president. And it's a terrible situation.
That's another just like totally, different question I want to ask. But I know that on the conservative movement, they push for a lot of freedom to do this, freedom to do that, freedom. Now, I hear you mention about like the Christian aspect, like with Doug Burgum. I feel like there's a lot of leadership in the Republican movement that are pushing Christianity. Now, I'm a Christian myself, right? I'm a believer, but I don't think that if you want like like laws being passed that is of Christian value. Isn't that kind of unfair for, I mean, I'm just saying for
No,
like other
this
religions?
is this
Explain.
is a country based on Judeo-Christian values. The Constitution is based on Judeo-Christian values. You don't have to like it. Nobody has to like it. I will tell you that regarding countries that are not based on Judeo-Christian values, where is the immigration line? Are they lined up to get into Papua New Guinea? No, they aren't. Okay. They're lined up to get into France, England, Germany, and America. There's benefits, social services, whatever, you name it. So I don't see the immigration line for countries that are not based on this.
Mhm.
Um, Personally, I'm glad to live here. We're already in the VIP section. There's no need for us to leave. Um, and it is what it is. You don't have to like it when it was unfair to everyone else. Who the people that come here? I like to say I like to use them as an example because they've been very public recently. I
Mhm.
challenge you to go over to Uganda or Afghanistan and go to their country and tell them you don't like it and you think you should be able to wear a dress. Because why not? You're a beautiful woman. Why not? If you believe that, why can't you just put on a dress and walk around Uganda? Why do we have to accept everything, but every other country doesn't? You hear people in America saying, oh, you don't want to say Merry Christmas because we're going to offend someone. Well, I guarantee you that in Hong Kong, they're going to have Chinese New Year and they don't care what the immigrants think. Other people have values. They can have a country and a value and religion and monotheism or polytheism. They could do whatever they want in their country. And they don't let other people come in their country and tell them what to do. So we need to put a stop to all of that and stop acting like we're scared of people who came from countries where they couldn't do what they wanted to do.
Mm. Well, look, y'all. Again, this is the first time you're hearing this voice, Miss Janine Lewis, conservative commentator. You are always welcome, my friend. You look, you mean what you say. You hey, you being upfront, which I respect. Again, like I tell people, you don't always have to agree, but hey, look, you're always welcome here on this program. I will let you know that cold-heartedly. You are always welcome, and we'll talk to you soon. So, look, again, we're going to do a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'll have my next guest on the program, Miss Melissa Lukeson, community activist and a dear friend of mine and familiar face with here. But Janine, look, I will talk to you soon, my friend. You have
Thank
a great one. You
you.
and your family have a great one.
You too.
All right, family, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. So I just had on my friend Miss Janine Lewis, conservative commentator. She said a lot right there. Now I know a lot of people are probably saying, "What in the world?" All my my liberal friends and Democratic friends are probably like, "Look, who is this girl?" Then you have my friends on the right that are saying, "Look, that's what I'm talking about." So hey, look, for the middle ones, hey, Janine, she said what she said. She meant what she said. Like it or love it, but she's always welcome here on this program, and I hope to have her on again. But up next, I told you I had not one but two guests here on the program. Next up, I have my dear friend, community activist, businesswoman, and somebody who I can always say I consider her a firecracker because she does not play at all, just like Janine. She's no stranger to the show. I have my dear friend, Miss Melissa Lukeson. Melissa, how you doing, fam?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am doing awesome. Always great to speak with you. I always just feel like we always have awesome conversations. So
We do.
Yep. Hope you and your fam are doing great. Hope your husband's doing awesome as well.
Doing great.
Well, look, I want to talk. I just had on Janine Lewis, conservative commentator. She spoke a lot about, her thoughts on the election, and hey, had a lot to say, on what she thought about, the candidates and why the conservative movement is growing and why with the attraction towards Donald Trump. I want to get it. I want to get your perspective for somebody that's really an activist on the left, because you are very, very, very involved, not only with your local, but on a state and federal level as well. And just, I'm gonna ask the first question that I asked Janine. What was your score? What was your thoughts on the first presidential debate? Because I know it was a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, but I want to get your perspective. What was your thoughts?
Yeah. So certainly not Joe Biden's best performance. What I thought was that Donald Trump didn't answer one question. That because there was zero moderation in the sense of no fact checking, like real-time fact checking. I do believe it was calculated that Donald Trump lied every minute and 20 seconds of that debate. That's how much he lied and how frequently he lied. And really it was like, because there was no pushback on things that weren't true, misinformation, is the way I was viewing it was it was like a Trump rally with Biden over here trying to answer questions and follow a format, but like Trump is just saying whatever Trump wants to say as if he's at a Trump rally, if that makes sense. Right. And so I understand, I guess Joe Biden was under the weather. It was obviously 9 o'clock. I'm like, if y'all gonna have a debate with a couple old people, can't y'all do this like at like 7? That would be cool. You know what I mean?
At least when the sun is still out, right? When the sun is
right. But also, I'm also like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like a 90-minute debate, and there's this like entire sky is falling situation right now. Which is really a lot of media. The media is just all over this, and this is to me what the media does. And I can tell you, I don't know. I'm not sure what delusional state people like your former guest are living in, that they think the conservative movement is growing. Because if you're actually talking to people and not just doing political punditry, that's not the case at all on the street. Donald Trump is not the fan favorite. And so the issue is you have a lot of people that are part of the MAGA movement, like your previous guest is a MAGA, right? The MAGA movement, first of all, it's a cancer to this country. And it was so interesting to me. One of the things I just do want to comment about, when I jumped in and I came in backstage, your former guest, you guys were talking about Trump being, a racist or not being a racist. And it was like when I guess,
well, I think it wasn't that term I mentioned about snake in the grass, not being disloyal to this.
Right. And when people say like, oh, like, tell me why Trump is a racist, right? Like I believe that was said. And that she says that, she doesn't, nobody really says anything. I'm like, well, I could give you a list. I mean, we could talk about the ads he took out for the Central Park 5 in New York. We could talk about all the unpaid laborers that he screwed out of money in New York City all those years he was doing real estate. And many of those laborers were people of color. How about black jobs? I don't know. Are you doing your black job right now, Arrington? Because I do believe at the debate, he made some kind of mention that people coming from the over the border.
He did. He said black jobs and Hispanic jobs, which again, everybody's like, what is
what? Right. Exactly. And also let's talk about the 5 lawsuits that U.S. government sued the Trump organization for, because they were writing C in the corner of applications of black applicants for the people that were wanting to live in their buildings. And the C that they put on the little corner of that application, that was for folks of color. And they were sued 5 times, not once, not twice, but 5 times for being racist. So I don't know if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck. I'm pretty sure it's a duck. So anyways, I just wanted to clear that up for any of your viewers that were, not sure, and all of that is perfect. You can search that. I also, from the debate perspective, there was the job the moderators did with not doing it. I already brought up the not doing any real-time fact checking and not pushing back on anything that they knew was in the moment. Like, it's one thing if you can't real-time fact check on, a random comment about how much money was spent or left in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But like, there was very, very clear misinformation coming from and lies coming out of Donald Trump's mouth. So
yeah. Well, to add to that, and not trying to, in a sort of defend CNN's case with that by not fact checking, CNN right now is struggling with ratings. On a business perspective, they're trying to lean more unbiased, centrist, right? So they're doing all they can to make it seem like it's not in favor for the Democratic candidate of, current President Joe Biden. So I think a lot of stuff that they do is purposely. I think them hosting the first debate purposely. I think them having a lot of their I'm sorry. I think I don't know if they had either one or two. No, they might have just had. I don't know. Did they host one Republican debate?
I can't. You know what? I'm trying to.
I'm probably not.
I don't think so. I think it was just Fox.
Okay, so mainly what I'm explaining is just they're right now in the revamping stage. Sure. But I do agree with you. Like, if you know that you have the fact check, don't you think it's it will be disingenuous not to mention that for people that are like glued to this? Because even though it's just the first debate, that first can mean a lot for a lot of voters, which it is as of right now. Because again, a lot of people went on, okay, let's see how they're gonna respond. Now, I will say, and I mentioned with Janine earlier, like, for either the Biden team or Joe Biden himself wanting to have that first debate, you gotta come with all the ammunition. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta come, very aggressive. And he didn't meet that level. And yes, he did answer his questions, but he struggled answering those questions. I would say Trump didn't answer the questions, right? But he sound much clearer. So a lot.
Well, sure.
When you are big when it comes to physical interaction.
But I can sound very confident and knowledgeable when I'm fired up about something and I'm in my emotions about it, right? I can come, because emotions will drive your communication skills, right? Yeah. And one thing that people aren't really talking about is the way that Trump did that, the gish galloping. Have you heard about that? The gish gallop, that style of where you're just constantly getting it's like a rhetorical argument style or debate. That's not even really a debate style. It's gish. It's just completely overloading your opponent with multiple lies and things. And I can understand why Biden might have been taken aback by that, because he expected to have especially with them muting mics when their time was up. And, I would have come into that expecting to actually have a debate. And so when you are out of the gate, getting just barraged with no answer, like, not Biden is doing everything he's supposed to do in the context of a debate, right? And Trump is just like, no, I was the best president in the world, and my whole administration was great. Not that 44 of his administration have been either sent to jail or indicted on things. Like, come on now.
And that's the thing for me, because I'll be honest. I've said many times to friends in the beginning stages, if Trump added more humbleness, if he was more humble, if he wasn't the whole Trump guy he is, right? If he would have been a little more humble, boom, he won. Okay, he won. Let's try it out, right? But the fact of the matter is, he has every time he comes forth, there's so much baggage coming with him, right? He's an unapologetic person, right? He, in my opinion, I don't think he is a loyal friend, because there's so many people of his team that is, again, your own VP that's for me. So
yes. You literally wanted your VP to be hung. Like, bro, who needs friends when you have enemies like that? Like, what?
And look, and I am a diehard independent. Okay, this is no, oh, you're a left-leaning guy, so you're gonna just automatically bash anybody. I'll be honest. There were other, if Haley was still in it, boom, I would have been fine with that. There were other candidates, in my opinion, that would have been, if it was a Republican, would have been fine. I had no problems. But I'm just speaking on the person as an individual, right? A lot of people say, well, Arrington, stop being, getting emotional with it. Look, in all honesty, character shows a lot when it comes to leadership, and especially representing our country. So I'm sorry, but character is everything for me first before I start reading policies. I can, bad policy, good policy, I can still live happy, because at the end of the day, what's happening in my local and state level, that's it. Now it's gonna come from federal, don't get me wrong, but it's a whole different, mindset. But not trying to step over your shine, Melissa.
No,
it's just
great.
I think now let's go back to one of the big arguments is Biden, is he there? Is she the right candidate to run against Trump? Because I'll be honest, it's tough. And I'm a little frustrated with the Democrats, as I mentioned with Janine before earlier in the show. They should have had some form of primaries. I personally think they should have just, I don't know, because there were other candidates that wanted to take that leap of faith and say, look, I respect Joe Biden. I'm glad, what he done and stuff like that, but it's time for, for some new leadership, right? So I would have wished they would have done a primary. No primary, okay. They skip over that. Biden's the candidate. Now it's like we're 4 months into it. They're talking back and forth. Oh, should we who's some good candidates? Gretchen Whitmore or Gavin Newsom. And I'll give Janine credit as far as saying, even though she did, she shared her opinion on Kamala Harris. But yeah, they're skipping right over Kamala Harris, who's a VP, and talking Michelle Obama. Let me tell you something. They don't want anything to do with politics. They will support, but they don't want it. They're making too much. They're having too much success right now outside the White House. So,
and I don't frankly want another. I love Michelle Obama. I went to see her 2 years ago. I don't want another legacy family, and I honestly don't. I mean, could Michelle bring out voters? Probably. Okay. I think, just to kind of answer you how I feel about like what they're doing. I do wish that the Democratic Party had stuck to what they had said, which was Joe Biden can beat Trump in 2020. He'll do his 4 years and then we'll move on. I think what happened in those 4 years is, as the Biden administration and people in politics have found out how corrupt the Trump administration was, and everything that's come out at this point, I'm going to be honest. I don't know. Well, first of all, it's not that somebody else couldn't beat Trump. Like, yeah, Gavin Newsom, I could tomorrow, I feel like it could beat Trump. Okay. But we're 4 months to an election. We only have until the end of August for ballot corrections, or like to remove yourself off the ballot. Like if you decide to withdraw from a race, say September 2nd, you're on the ballot. Like they'll be the voter will be given something saying like, don't vote for this person. They withdrawn from the race, but you're still on the ballot. Okay.
So, and I don't mean to cut you off, Melissa, but you bringing up the corruption piece of former President Donald Trump. Are you trying to say that the Democrats kind of see it as an easy win? You know what I mean? Like it sounded like they kind of got a little careless in this. No. Okay.
No. I don't think it's as much as an easy win as it was. The administration has had so much success, right? And what the administration has been doing. And this is, I think my biggest frustration with all of this and all this talk about Biden, about Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden's a nice old man. He's like he's like my grandpa. You know what I mean?
Said old. I heard old. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. No, 100%. Oh, he's freaking old. They're all old. We have a gerontocracy going on right now.
We really do. U.S. Senate, Congress. My goodness.
Right. Exactly. And then like also, you know how many black senators we have had? 11 in the whole history of our country. Okay. So like, stop. Like the whole conservative party is not in this conservative movement. It is for white Christian evangelicals. They will use anyone to get to a means to their end, which is a white Christian nationalist country. And they're just going to have to deal with the people of color that are already here. Okay. Because except for the Trump administration has already said that they're going to put the next Republican president is going to have the largest deportation in the history of the United States. That's one of the things that with their immigration that they're going to do. They're planning. I mean, I don't think people realize like in the plans for the Trump administration or any Republican administration, really honestly, through the Project 2025, that administration, you're talking about major changes over in government through the Trump administration. We're just going to call it the Trump administration because that's who the Republican nominee is. People need to understand something. Joe Biden or Donald Trump, they're the head. Okay. They're the vision. They're the agenda. Okay. But it's the administration that makes that president. Okay. It's the legislators, i.e. Congress and Senate, who pass laws. The president cannot pass laws. They're the executive branch. They're the operations manager of the United States. The Congress, Senate, they are the salespeople of the United States. Okay, right? If you look at it from a sales and ops perspective. So the salespeople are the legislators. They're trying to sell a bill of goods to the constituents to say, hey, we want these policies. We want to pass these things. I'm trying to sell this to you. Okay. The president they're selling on behalf of their salespeople by saying, if you go with our party platform, I can make this happen with my operations management. Okay. So having said that, let's give the reins over to Donald Trump, who has said he wants to disband important government agencies, as well as change over 4,000 people that are supposed to be nonpartisan in the office of the Bureau of Personnel or whatever. They're supposed to be nonpartisan, and they're going to switch those 4,000 people for sure over to at will like this. Okay. But then 50,000 civil servants will get changed over to at will, which is really just a loyalty test. Because it's you will basically do what the president's will is, or you will not have a job. And that was the most frustrating thing about Donald Trump's presidency. And what's scary to me is that Donald Trump didn't hit the ground running last time. They didn't know. He wasn't even prepared to win. He didn't even think he was going to win.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's another thing I've said many a times too, privately and publicly. Trump is always and still will be a personality. He, trust me and believe, he did not think he was going to win. And then he won. He's like, oh, damn. So let me go ahead and, gather some folks. We're going to bring about.
Which is why.
All right. You, the brain surgeon, I'm going to put you in charge of house and urban development. Yeah, by the way,
yep,
kudos.
That's it. That's exactly right. So now, okay, right. It's laughable. Like a Scaramucci, like Anthony Scaramucci was his chief of staff. He lasted for 11 days. A Scaramucci is like a political joke about how long do you last?
Do you stay in? Yep. I've actually heard Scaramucci talk about that publicly.
Yeah. They're like, oh, that was only 4 Scaramuccis. You know what I mean? So. And on top of that, Mike Flynn, these people that worked for him, Mike Flynn, one of the heads of his campaign, he's a lunatic, and he is In my opinion, he's he's treasonous. But the guy had charges. He got pardoned. Like that's what's scary though, is that they know what to do now.
Well, and I don't mean to stop you right there, Melissa, but I know we're pushing on time, so I really want to get to like at least the big. So I hear what you're saying about Trump. I hear your opinions and your thoughts on how your thoughts towards the president and what it will be if he is elected again. But right now, the sad thing is, it's looking like his chances are a little high just because you have the Democratic Party that are having issues within its own party, which honestly all parties do, but this one is more publicized because you have I'm gonna say at least 8 people within Congress. You have a few people in Senate. You have I was watching Morning Joe recently, and Nancy Pelosi, her response, in my opinion, was she's not satisfied with Biden as the nominee. Like, her response was totally different compared to James Clyburn, who's saying riding with Biden. Like, it was a different response. So again, with all of that happening within the party, the public sees it. They mentioned the celebrities, top donors like George Clooney, which I always explain to people, read it in context though. They said that he was hoping that Biden will not be the nominee or will drop out. They did not say he's not gonna vote for him. That's what killed. Like everybody's saying, oh, there he goes. Clooney literally just hosted a freaking fundraiser for him like weeks before he said that. So he's still gonna back if he is the nominee, he's gonna back him up. Yes. But again,
I think this is reactionary, Arrington.
Okay.
I think this is reactionary, and you walked right into your own point with George Clooney. You can be mad he's not going to step down. Still going to vote for him. And guess what? So is everybody else.
Do you think though, this, looking at this, and I wish I had the time to ask Janine this question too, but looking at the way this race is looking right now, do you think this could be like the moment for the independent parties? I mean, I'm just saying, I know they don't have the ballot access, but it's
I wish the only way we're going to get independent parties is with ranked choice voting. Americans need to understand that. We are never going. 67% of people that are eligible to vote voted in the 2020 presidential election. And that was the highest participation rate that we've had. And maybe I'd have to go back and look at Obama, but I'm pretty sure that this last one was one of the highest participation rates. Okay. But that's still 67%. Like we're missing the mark. And it has been said that if all eligible voters actually showed up to vote, Republicans would never win office again. My concern is ambivalence.
Okay.
That's my concern, right? And I do want to touch back and double back to Kamala Harris. A bunch of information was put out about the work that Kamala Harris has been doing, because the one thing that people talk about with the vice president is like, oh, well, what's she been doing? Whatever. Okay, well, I'm not sure if I told you this before, but I always ask people, I'm like, so, well, who was your favorite vice president? If you have so much to say about vice presidents.
That is a perfect response. You know what, Melissa, and that's a great way, because we are getting close to time. So look, don't go anywhere. We're going to chop it up just a little bit. But you on chillax backstage. I'm just
gotcha.
Ladies and gents, again, my dear friend, Miss Melissa Lukeson, community activist, and like I said, firecracker. She's no stranger to the program. Melissa, thank you so much, but don't go anywhere because I want to chop it up a little bit with you. Y'all, look, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. I wish I had more time. I really do. I want to thank conservative commentator Janine Lewis, who again will be no stranger to this program. She will always be welcome back here on the program. She spoke her piece. Melissa spoke her piece, man, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. We're going to continue to give you more stuff, conversations like this here on the Arrington Gavin Show, because again, we're unbiased here. You have to hear from all sides of the aisle, because that's life. We live in a universal society. So look, I gotta go. Y'all know how to tune in. Look, I'm out.